All right, guys. In my last review, I said I was going to do it, so there's no backing down now. Is Halloween 6 as bad as I remember it, or has it grown on me like the mask has on Michael? Stay tuned. So the first time I saw Halloween 6, I was I was not impressed. We were doing a video of all the Halloweens over at Macho Movie Madness in like 2017, and I hadn't seen any of the Halloweens besides the first one, and so I watched like 10 of them in the span of a week and a half. And after the fifth one, which was just abysmal, and I still think it's a bad movie, I didn't give six much of a chance, and so I watched it and like was half asleep, and I didn't think it was good. I didn't think it had any characters with any redeemable qualities in it. I thought it was trying to be too 90s edgy. So yeah, I was a little bit surprised whenever I watched it last week, and I'm like, this isn't as bad as I remember it. So Halloween 6 starts off with Michael Myers tying up all of his loose ends, namely Jamie Lloyd from Halloween's 4 and 5. And, say what you will about J.C. Brandy, I don't think the character had a whole lot to do in this movie, so I can't really get onto her too bad for that. And this movie introduces us to a grown-up Tommy Doyle, played by Paul Rudd, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. And it also includes Laurie Strode's cousins, the Strode family, living in Michael's old house. And this basically becomes just like the poster says, he wants to come home, but this ugly family is living there, and they're in his way. And this movie, of course, stars Paul Rudd as Tommy Doyle, and his performance here is just like so uneven. He'll take a scene from just normal to manic at the drop of a hat, and I guess that's kind of a negative. It's kind of funny to watch. It's almost a positive to me because it's just so uneven. There's Laurie Strode's Uncle John, who I said earlier, he's bought this Myers house. He's a real estate agent, and he couldn't sell it, so he ended up buying it at like this discounted price. And there's Kara Strode. I guess she'd technically be her cousin. She's okay. She's got a kid, and there's a whole Cult of Thorn thing going on with the kid. Um, Dr. Loomis is in this. Of course, this was Donald Pleasant's last movie. I think he passed away before it was actually uh, wrapped and went to theaters. And Dr. Wynn from the first movie is in this as well. This movie, like the previous two in the Thorn trilogy, was filmed in Salt Lake City. And I felt like this one here really encapsulated the season well because they filmed it in the fall. And the streets are wet, there's leaves down everywhere, they're turning colors. I felt like they really got Halloween the season right in this movie. And then there's some really good kills in this movie. The best of which is the best exploding head scene since probably David Cronenberg's Scanners, when Uncle John, who's just this detestable character, gets it from Michael Myers and gets electrocuted till his head explodes. There's also a really cool scene where there's this shock jock DJ at this Halloween festival, and Michael Myers gets a hold of him, and it's kind of a found kill where he's tied up in this tree, and there's this little girl in a tutu, and she's like, "Look, mommy, it's raining red," and so it's like literally taking a cue from Slayer. It's raining blood on her. I also feel like this movie is a time capsule of the mid '90s. This is before like Scream got a hold of everything and turned everything and made everything feel like a CW TV show. Not only is it for like the '90s clothes and the music and everything, but it also I like there's some scenes in here where the imagery is distorted and that screams mid '90s, and then there's also there's so many flashes. If you're epileptic, don't watch this film because it's almost like they had an arc welder just off to the side of the camera whenever they shot every scene. It's kind of funny, really, when you think about just how much that's used. But that was a very mid '90s thing too, and so yeah, this was one of the last horror movies to come out before that whole Scream thing came and changed everything. So it's kind of the last of its kind of like Wes Craven's New Nightmare. So as far as the bad in this movie, I don't really care for the characters all that much. This thing only has a runtime of like an hour and 28 minutes, so there's not a lot of time for character development. And the characters we get, besides Dr. Loomis, feel like so far removed from Halloween's 4 and 5, especially 4, which was, the last decent Halloween movie. I just it's hard to get into them. You're rooting more for Michael at this point a lot of times. And I guess there's two cuts of this movie. I've never seen the producer's cut. This was the theatrical cut. And in this one, it seems like the Cult of Thorns stuff was kind of tacked on there. I guess there's more in the producer's cut, but I don't know that I want to see it. And speaking of the Cult of Thorns stuff, spoilers here. It turns out that Dr. Wynn was the man in black the whole time, and it was just kind of an uneventful reveal to me. So overall, do I hate Halloween 6 as much as I did the first time I watched it? Absolutely not. Before I think I rated this near the bottom, just above the Rob Zombies, and now I would rate it above the Rob Zombies, above 2 out of 3 of the Hallowed Greens, above 5 for sure in Resurrection. It's middle of the pack to me, maybe upper middle of the pack. Uh, if I'm gonna give it a rating, I'd give it a solid 6. I can't go much higher than that because the story's kind of what it is. But I did enjoy it a whole lot more than I thought I would. Got a viewer request for this, and I was just like, man, I don't want to review this movie. I'd rather take a sharp stick in the eye or a steel-toed boot in the anus. I just, I didn't want to do this, and I went into it with an open mind one day on my day off, and it was icy and nasty outside, so I'm like, well, I've got nothing else to do. Let's give this its best shot. So yeah, I don't hate Halloween 6 like I thought I did. At least not the theatrical cut. I don't know. My friend Brandon Smith says the producer's cut's better. I may watch it. We'll see. Um, but thanks for tuning in, guys. And up next, I have a movie that I really do like, and that is Escape from New York. And I can't wait. I think I'm gonna play a little bit of guitar for you guys. Maybe do the theme song. So stay tuned for that. As always, I'm Andrew. Be sure to like and subscribe. See you down the line.